Hi there, you're watching the Gardens and Graveyard channel. My name is Charisma, and today we are meeting down in the herb garden and we're going to plant up some lavender in cement pots that Spencer and I made ourselves. So if you missed the video where we did a little DIY cement pot making, I will make sure that that is linked in the description below, or you can find it on our YouTube channel. We made 2 in that video. We've made 5 total. I broke 1, so we have 4. I have 6 lavender plants, so we're actually using the mold of 2 of the different types of pots that we made to plant these up. The rainy season is nipping at our heels. We are expecting this is the last day of a beautiful extended summer, and we are expecting rain, 90% chance of rain for the next 10 days. I need to get my lavenders out of their 1-gallon pots because lavender tends to rot here in our location, and we garden in zone 9A on the Oregon coast, and we have a beautiful Mediterranean herb garden that does really well. I have tried growing lavender in the ground in multiple areas of our garden, and it rots every single year. The only time I've had success is if I leave it in a container. I have planted lavender up in combo containers, and they did really well, except for maybe getting a little too much water in the heat of the summer because they were planted with other things that needed more water. So I really want to get these in their own individual containers that are porous. So either a terracotta pot or a cement pot is a best solution for our lavender here in our garden. Cement pots are very expensive, so we decided to try to make our own, and we were fairly successful. Were they like prize-worthy cement pots that you can sell? No, not at all. Are they totally worth the money, time, and effort? Absolutely. So essentially we made 5 pots, and that cost us about $15 and a few hours of our time, maybe like 3 hours total of our time, even though I only have 4, because what happened was I drilled my drainage hole when the container was still a little wet, the cement was still a little wet, and it messed with the integrity of the drying process and put big cracks in them, and as soon as they got handled, it broke apart. So that's okay. I have 4 to start with, and we'll make more next summer. Essentially, in the end, I want about 10 lavender plants, and right now I have 6, so we're just gonna work with what we have. This is one of the containers that we made. You could see that the mold isn't perfect. It got higher on this side than it did on that side. I don't care, it's fine. It will hold the lavender exactly as I need it to. They are heavy and they won't blow over in the wind, which is the other benefit of having a cement pot in our garden. Okay, lavender wants a lot of drainage, so not only am I using potting mix designed for potted plants, I'm going to also mix in perlite. So it'll be about 30% perlite in addition to the perlite that's already in the potting mix. So I'm going to get my soil mixed up, and then we will plant the lavenders. I'll tell you what kind of lavender I have, and we'll get them placed out into the garden. All right, now that we have our soil mixed up, go ahead and fill these containers with all of the soil, and then we can plant the lavender. All right, so I have a variety of different types of lavender here with me. Some are really small and some are bigger. Let's start with this one. This is a Hydeco Blue. Now, my lavenders are starting to go dormant, so you could see that they kind of just look like sticks. You see some blue-green foliage on there that's live, and you see some of this year's summer growth, which is more green. But the roots are still really good, and they would probably really appreciate getting out of their black plastic containers. So Hydeco Blue is one of the miniature, smaller stature lavenders. So I'm actually going to put this one in one of these three smaller containers. Just going to take a look and see what we have here first. This one is one that I was growing in a container in my backyard, and I know it gets larger, so I will put this one in one of the medium containers. It is one that I've had for a long time. I don't know what the variety it is. It is a French lavender though. This one is the Graves lavender, and it is kind of a large lavender. So I might put that one in this container. This one is Platinum Blonde, which is also kind of a medium one. This vessel has the most space of the mediums, so I'm going to put that one in here. And then this one is a Munstead, and you could tell by how small the little leaves are that this is one of the smaller ones as well. We'll put that there. And then this is Merlot. Look at how beautiful that variegation is. Of course, this is the newest lavender that I've picked up, and it hasn't had time to go dormant yet. And I think it is absolutely beautiful. So we're going to put this in the biggest container. The Hydeco Blue I've had for 3 years. I actually planted it in the ground and almost lost it. So I pulled it out. I put it in this container filled with mostly perlite so it would drain super well. It did bloom a little bit this summer, and I think it'll make it. So we're just gonna keep babying it along. I don't really want to disturb the roots too much because it's been traumatized so much, and it's not really root bound, although it does have a good strong root system, if you could see all the roots in there. Little baby weed growing in there. I don't need the weeds, that's for sure. All right, so put a little too much soil in there. And even though this is going in a container, I'm still gonna plant it a tiny bit high because I really do want plenty of drainage for these lavenders. All right, that looks good. Move into this Platinum Blonde. What did I do with my tag? make sure that we keep the tag with the plant, so know what plant it is. Again, not going to disturb the roots too much. It does have a nice good root system on there. That's good. I'm not terribly worried about the soil going all the way up to the top, because partially because it's going to settle some, and partially because I won't be watering these very deeply. Lavender likes to be pretty dry, and they really don't prefer any kind of soil. They don't prefer any kind of fertilizer or compost or anything like that. They grow in pretty poor soil, and that usually makes them fairly happy. This is the Munstead. This one has, this one has a bit of bloom stock left on it from the summer, so just taking those off. Okay. Looks a little cleaner. Here. Okay. This is a plastic container that I used for this mold. Much lighter weight. This one has more dead in the center. It's taking anything that looks dead out of the center to give it plenty of airflow. So these 4 lavenders, let's see, this one was the one, this one was in my garden when I moved here in a container. So this was the previous owner's lavender, and it did really well when I transplanted it into a container with some annuals. So now I think it's going to do really good all on its own. These 3 we bought 3 years ago. And we've tried them in different places, and just, they're barely hanging on. Let's see. This is Graves. I bought this in a lavender farm outside of Sisters. I think it's actually in Tumalu. Oregon. And we got it summer before last. Is that true? No, we got it the end of last summer. That's right. And it's been sitting, it's just been in this nursery pot the whole time. So I really think it will be happy in a container. There's lots of new growth on it. I think it'll be fine. It's just, it's been neglected to say the least. Okay. So lavenders typically bloom in July here, and I really wanted to get this project done in August, but the summer just completely got away from me. And truth be told, I thought that I would start these cement pots last summer for just the few that I had then. So we had a sweet romance from Proven Winners that we lost because I didn't take care of it. We also had a standard lavender, like on a tree farm, that I also lost. That was in the ground, and it rotted. So those are two that I want to get back into the garden, but into pots this time. All right. Let's get this last one planted. All right, now I'm gonna place all the pots out where they're going to go, right here at the entryway to the herb garden. Okay, I think that looks really good. I really want a collection of 7, actually. I think that's what I originally wanted, 7, but I think I'd like 10. Anyways, I just want an odd number, like 4 over here, 3 over here, or something. Anyway, I like how it looks for now. Long-term goal, I want to put an arch right here at the entryway, and then have a collection of lavender flanking it. This Brunnera, this perennial right here, is going to get moved to the backyard. So that'll be gone, and then the St. John's wort will kind of fill in that space. But I can tuck, you know, probably 3 more in that area right there. And then maybe just like 1 or 2 more right there. But for this winter, that's gonna be wonderful. The only other thing that I want to do is, well, I did water them in just to make sure that there's no air pockets, but I didn't water them very deeply. I just got some water running through it, and hopefully that'll be enough. It is going to start raining, so I'm not too terribly worried about it. Also, the last thing I want to do for these pots is pick up some oyster shells and mulch the top of them with oyster shells. And what that will do is give it a little bit of trace minerals with calcium, and it will protect the soil from getting overly soggy. Plus, it will reflect light up underneath the lavender, and that will be even more beneficial in the summertime. And it is something that this Squim Washington lavender farmers do. They are famous Northwest Lavender Farm and Festival, and that's what they do in their in-ground lavenders. I have access to oyster shells here on the Oregon coast, so I want to try that, doing some crushed shell on the top. Plus, it'll be really pretty. That feels so incredibly good to get done. It's been on my list of running back in the back of my head for a solid year, maybe longer. So I'm really glad to get it done, and I don't have to feel bad for these lavenders all winter long that I didn't take care of them again. I've been protecting them, like I keep them up on my porch and water them through the winter because I'm so afraid that I'm gonna just, if I left them out in the landscape, in ground, they'll rot, and in the black containers, they might rot, but they also would get blown over because it's just, they're too light, and they might get really cold because there's not enough protection in that, black plastic container. And in the cement containers, they're definitely more insulated for the winter. You know, the extent that we go to for specific flowers and foliage in our gardens might seem a little ridiculous to people who are not gardeners, but lavender is one of my top 5 favorite herbs, flowers, smells. Even I love the way the structure looks. I love everything about them, so I really want them to grow in my garden. So I'm giving them the best opportunity that I possibly can. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and make sure that you are sharing and subscribing so that we can continue to grow the channel together. And I hope that you're celebrating your life today and every day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.